Your love makes me want so much more. Music for your soul. It gets better every time you're around. It gets better every time you're around. It gets better every time you're around. Every time. It gets better. It gets better. Your love makes me.
Welcome back to another episode on the Capsule, Ill Mind Capsule. I'm Godson Tony,
Dana J, how's it going, y'all?
and yeah, we're gonna run into this commercial real quick. And when we come back, we got a great show for y'all tonight: Resonance versus Dissonance. And what's that thing you was talking about? What do Ja Rule and Saul Williams got in common?
Yeah.
You know what? Stick around and find out when we come back from this commercial. And we back and we working. Yeah.
Welcome
Another
back.
show. Welcome back, man.
It's good to be back.
Salute. Shh. You know, we still in COVID, so we still gotta,
Wi-Fi, wireless.
wireless bumps, fist bumps, and all of that. So yeah, man, it's been somewhat of a tumultuous weekend slash last week. A lot's been going on in the world.
For sure.
Like how's your week been? Like weekend,
It was pretty good. Went out to Philly for the weekend. I had a good little bit of fun.
Okay.
I've been working on my podcast,
Okay.
as well as stuff with my group, The Producer's Edge. Definitely make sure to check them out. Shout out to Spencer Fro behind the boards. He's
Okay.
definitely a part of that, as well as Mr. G Silva. So
Okay.
we've got some workshops wrapping up, some new ones about to start off. So it's been pretty good, man. A productive week. What about you?
Well, before we get into me, you want to plug in the podcast real quick?
Oh, for sure. I mean, so definitely check out danajdaily.com. That's my website. It's got information about my my podcast as well as everything else. My podcast is called The Dana J Almost Daily Show. You can check that out on all major platforms for podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, all of those. But you can go to Dana J Daily for more information, for sure.
Shout out to that. Big shout out. Me, well, since my brother's not here today, Shah, I think I'm gonna jack his saying. Constantly elevating.
Okay, super dope.
Yeah. I mean, every week I feel like I am constantly elevating, I don't usually say that when he's on the show because he says it. So I know we could both say it, but I'll let him get that.
Salute to Shah.
Salute to Shah. He's watching right now. Other than that, I've been watching what's been going on in the world, what's been going on in the markets, how people been moving.
It's a lot going on in the
It's a
world.
lot going on right now. But
sure.
we just gonna jump right into birthdays. You know, like the week birthdays.
For sure. I know we missed out last week, and there's been some awesome birthdays throughout the month of February. Last day of the month. Last day of Black History Month.
This is the
Black
last
Future
day
Month.
of Black History Month. You know, like, I mean, it didn't really feel like Black History Month this year. But even though we made a lot of history too, like shout out to the NFL and the Super Bowl and the halftime shows and
Yeah, it was amazing.
you know, shout out to Eminem taking a knee. You know, I mean, I wish you know, some of the black folks on the stage that took a knee too. But I mean, that's neither here nor there.
Oh, that's,
Yeah,
I think I think that there's a lot to celebrate, and while we missed out on it last week, there are definitely some birthdays as we wrap up February that we definitely want to shout out. So definitely happy belated to Lord Finesse.
Lord Finesse,
As well as Tupac Shakur, Meg the Stallion.
Tupac Shakur.
I believe that's that
No,
name.
no.
What's
No.
that
Oh,
name?
that
of
was
the Lord
Tasha
Finesse?
Smith.
Tasha Smith, wow. I thought
Tasha
that was Tupac
Smith,
Shakur.
you know.
Finesse is on right now.
Lord Finesse. Oh yeah, shout out to Lord Finesse.
Shout out to Lord
Happy
Finesse.
birthday.
Happy belated, yes sir.
Tasha Smith was her birthday this month too.
Not Tupac Shakur.
Meg the Stallion. That was February 15th was her birthday.
Dr.
Dr.
Dre. Just speaking about the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, speaking about the Super Bowl, right? Shout out to him. Ice-T, shout out to him. And
Is that Birdman?
Birdman.
he's
Yeah,
fast.
Birdman was the 18th. Birdman, salute. So, Leaplings. You want to break that down?
For sure. So
What's a Leapling?
today, of course, is the last day of February, February 28th. Every 4 years, as we all know, we get that one extra day out of the month, February 29th. Now, there's a unique thing that happens there because technically, your birthday only technically happens once in every 4 years. So there's folks who are going to be celebrating their birthday tomorrow on March 1st.
Hold on. So you say no, I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay.
So you're saying technically if you're born on March 29th, tomorrow you don't get a birthday.
I mean, I guess you do,
Well, I mean,
but it's
there's
like
no 29th tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 1st.
Right, so you just got to eat that, you know?
Whoa.
Yeah,
Is
it's tough.
that's not, well, why is it like that?
That's just the way it is. Do-do-do.
Well, it has something to do with the zodiac signs and, you know, every 4 years, you know, I'm not going to get deep into that.
Yeah, but I do know that Ja Rule is going to be celebrating a
Oh,
birthday
yeah.
tomorrow.
Ja Rule and Saul Williams.
The legendary
That's what
spoken
they
word artist.
they have in common. You know, so, I mean, even though Ja's born in, February 29th, and Saul Williams is born February 29th, I feel like they get cheated out of a day, but they get to celebrate it on March 1st.
Right.
Wow.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them. How do you think you would feel if you was born? Do you think you feel special, like you kind of like some superhero?
Well, I don't know. I mean, my birthday's already on the 1st. Oh, there he is. So happy birthday upcoming to Ja and to Saul Williams for sure. So my birthday's already on the 1st, but it's later on in the year. And I don't know. I think it would be, you might have a bit of identity crisis. I hope it don't cause no problems for them, you know, with like benefits. Imagine getting old enough to get your benefits and it's like, you still got to wait 70 some odd years.
So what if we say technically like Ja Rule's like 11 years old, like, you know.
He can't even get his permit, let alone his license.
I mean, is that why you think he looks so young, like?
Hey.
Yeah.
If the verses taught us anything, is that he still got his youth and he can still perform. And we got reminded why at one point he was, you know, one of the highest selling artists. And for some say he was the Drake before Drake, you know, the singing and rapping and the whole.
Oh yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
I mean,
salute
that was.
to Ja.
I think it was him. Then 50 did it for a little bit. Then Drake hopped on it. You know, Drake definitely solidified that style. So salute to those guys right there. So I mean, on the other side of birthdays, we got the deaths. Snooty Wild.
Rest in peace to Snooty Wild.
Rest in peace to Snooty Wild, young artist. Coming up, yet another hip hop death. Yeah.
Had a couple joints, I remember, for sure.
You got into his music?
Yeah, no, I definitely, there's a couple instances where he had I think Made Me was the big one that I remember, and that joint would always ring off.
Maybe?
Made me. His
Made-
last street
Made
said
Me?
made me. Yeah. He had a southern sort of twangy, like
Okay.
maybe he was maybe Memphis. Or, I know he was definitely from the south, but he had
I
a
gotta
certain
check that
hip-
out.
a certain
I
sort of
never,
bop
I
to him,
never
yeah.
really. And what you thought of his music?
I enjoyed it. I think it always rang off at the parties and always brought a good time. And it was never like, from what I remember, from the
Oh,
songs
you
that-
are. Yes, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. Because I'm a
I
DJ.
keep
I do
forgetting
this-
you're a DJ.
I-
So come on.
I work with music professionally, man. But,
Okay, so you're very in tune with what's going on in the music scene.
Yeah, so I'd say I remember 2013, 14, Snooty Wild had some songs that were actually doing pretty well and would pop off. Yeah, and he's had a couple of different joints throughout his career, man. And it's unfortunate that he got, gunned down out in Houston.
Wow, that's
He's
crazy.
he's from Memphis. Okay, I was right. Yeah, he had a certain bop, man. He had a couple of different joints that were hitting.
Wow. That's sad. Ricky Rick from South Africa, local artist out in South Africa, committed suicide. It's crazy. It's a lot of depression going on in the music scene, even with the drill music.
Yeah.
Also, I think this week they found Outpost Killer.
Did they?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that was some news too. And speaking of South Africa, just while we there, I watched a documentary this morning actually.
This morning.
Yeah.
For breakfast.
Yeah, it was early too. I was on Shaka Bar's Instagram, and he had a clip up there of a rape culture that seems to be going on in South Africa.
Okay.
And he said, it wasn't him, but it was a documentary. It was a BBC documentary. So then I Googled, I went through the comments and found the name of the documentary, and YouTube did, and found the documentary. If you guys are interested in finding out what documentary I'm talking about, it's called My Neighbor's a Rapist by BBC. It's on YouTube. And it just highlights the rape culture and some of the stuff that's going on in South Africa. It's pretty wild. It's adult content, so just be careful about what you're getting ready to watch or hear. But it highlights a problem in our community, in our society that we don't always talk about. You got anything to add to that?
I know. I mean, I definitely think that that's important, and it's good that there was an opportunity to shed light on it. Yeah, you said that the documentary it grabbed your attention, and
It did.
It really
did.
pulled you in to want to learn more. So it's great to have a platform
Yeah,
to touch on
and
that.
just for the women out there, just be careful. Just be aware of where you go, definitely, because here in our culture, we're protected. Women are more protected over here. They have more access to law officials and security and stuff like that. But over there, it's gruesome. They don't have those accesses, or benefits that we have here, and
They don't have resources.
Yeah, resources basically, and they're more. So it creates more victims. So I just wanted to touch on that and just bring that to the attention, of our people, our community, so we can always stay safe, and each one teach one, and each one care for one, and watch over and protect.
100%.
Yeah. So on that note, we're gonna jump into another commercial. Well, I think we got Dirty Souls. Dirty Souls. Shout out to. We're back and we're working. The Capsule. Yeah, I'm Godson Tony.
Dana J.
Yeah, and we're at it. So while we at it, please go to YouTube, the channel LGND Filmworks, subscribe, and comment and share. You know,
And
if you're in
Instagram too.
and on Instagram too, like illmind_.
Capsule.
Yeah. Just follow us so you can get updated on, our upcoming programming. So yeah, let's get into it. We have so much going on in the world, right now. Shit, it seems like we're moving into third world war.
Potentially.
What do what do you see going on? Are you keeping up with some of the news?
You talking about overseas?
Well, listen. First, I know everybody heard about Russia. So while that's going on, a lot of people didn't even really hear about Somalia.
Very true.
You
Do you think that was intentional?
I mean, these days, I ain't gonna talk. We're not gonna go deep into it, but we got to keep an eye on our government.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, we got to keep an eye on our government. Why? A lot of us didn't even see that coming.
I don't think the audience knows necessarily what happened.
So basically, thank you, Spencer. Frozone. So basically, while the focus of the world is on Russia and Ukraine and China, see, our country that we're living right now, that we're in, United States, took it upon themselves to go into Somalia and bomb Somalia.
This happened recently.
This
like
happened
over the
like
weekend?
2-3 days ago.
Wow.
It says they were bombing members of Al-Shabaab militant group
Al-Shabaab militant group.
who were to protect the citizen, the
Quote unquote.
non-Al-Shabaab.
Non-Al-Shabaab militant group, Al-Shabaab militant
super
group.
basic, but yeah.
But don't they always have to make an announcement before we go bombing? Before we go start another war?
I believe so. I believe there should be some sort of.
Yeah, they should.
I think they left that behind a long time ago.
Ooh.
Unfortunately.
It's sad.
So different countries are getting attacked, and different countries are doing the attacking. There's a grand sort of. I think a lot of folks are confused, and I think
I'm confused.
Yeah,
I mean, plus, war is big business.
it's the greatest business.
Yeah. So, I mean, Russia's been sitting on a stockpile of ammunitions, and they haven't been in war for a long time. So I think this is a good time for them to demonstrate a little power. But it seems like they have a ceasefire. Well, I'm not sure, but they're having a conversation
with
between
Ukraine.
the leaders and stuff like that. So
I think that'll be good because there's a lot of bloodshed. There's a lot of innocent lives
listen.
lost already. All the concern.
that's
and prayers
sad.
out for the folks out in Ukraine for
like
sure.
a lot of the pictures and images that's coming out of there. That's sad. To have to live in a war-torn country. Like, imagine the children and the women and,
Families torn apart.
Yeah. I also saw clips of, Africans trying to get out of there.
I saw those too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
You know what song came to my head?
What?
It's the story of OJ from Jay-Z.
Why?
Because it don't matter where you're at across the world. It don't matter if you're, if you're a unified refugee in a foreign land with other folks that are also refugees. There's a priority system that gets displayed in that, and there's a hierarchy that gets displayed in that. Even though we're all here off of the same quest and we're all looking to leave from the same damage that's affecting us all, some more than others, But who's the ones that make that priority? Who's the ones? Somehow there's a social hierarchy that's existing right now in the midst of folks in Ukraine trying to flee the country as fast as they can. That's prioritizing native Ukraine. I'd hate to be native black from Ukraine right now. I'd hate to be a native person of color from Ukraine right now.
There were a lot of Nigerians and Ghanaians out there. students and stuff like that I saw the image, and they were refusing them to get on a train before.
Right, families and children.
Yeah, before the white natives of Ukraine, like they were all in the camps, and you would see the white natives jumping over the fence, the white women jumping over the fence, and the guards not saying anything. But then the black guys or the black families were not able to jump over the fence to safety. And they were being refused by the military.
Yeah, I think this ties in well with what the overall theme of what we were talking about.
Yeah,
right?
the dissonance in the world.
Yeah, versus the resonance and that whole idea of like perception versus reality, like from on the outside.
Harmony and dissonance.
Harmony and dissonance.
Yeah.
Resonance is important.
Yeah, resonance. I mean, you can find resonance and harmony, but resonance can also be turned into dissonance. You know, so that's why we kind of switched to. Yeah, the initial title is going to be resonance versus dissonance, but you know, I think harmony versus dissonance speaks towards a lot of stuff that's going on right now. Because even though we're in harmony right here, you know, and shout out to us being in harmony, you know. Yeah, we're in harmony, but in other places, not too far from here, in other parts of the world, there's some dissonance going on right now.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
I hear you.
And that dissonance, too, also reflects and seeps into all natures of life if you let it, you know? Like, people look at what's going on in the world, and whatever they take that to mean, you know, however it affects them, they take it as part of their existence, as part of their experience now.
Right.
And now you get people there. You know, some people might look at what's going on in Ukraine and get mad or angry, and then now they're caused to walk around mad or angry or protected or shielded all day. You know, so it's we're in a very interesting state in the world.
And a lot of folks move out of a place of fear because there's a lot of lack of knowledge and a lack of like, I guess, a clear path in terms of making sense of what's happening over there. So we're in real time getting.
But then it's also like what's happening over here, because we're all feeling it. It's like you can't tell me you're not feeling some kind of effect of what's going on in the world right now.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like even when it comes down to inflation, or just the prices of gas, or when you know the prices of grocery, or you know price of living.
Right. COVID hasn't necessarily gone anywhere. It's eased up a
hasn't.
little bit here and there, you know, restrictions and mandates and things, but folks, you know, families are still affected
Like
by it. Folks'
right
jobs
now,
are
a
still
lot of
affected
people
by
are
it.
starting to feel the squeeze of inflation. You know, like rent's going up. You know, the rent memoriam's been lifted. It's been lifted, right?
I believe so, or close to it.
Yeah. So,
Folks are coming to collect, and it's tough.
Yeah.
Unemployment stopped a while ago, so folks have
so
been
be
scrambling.
careful out
Yeah.
there, folks. You know, the robberies in the community in the neighborhoods might be going up too. I heard robbery in California definitely went up.
Definitely LA.
Yeah, LA went up.
Even before the Super Bowl, like it's just been active out
Yeah.
there. And then places I think that folks have been understood to try and escape from, maybe folks that have been based in the Northeast like us in the tri-state, like Jersey.
Yeah, like don't be walking around with your jewelry all out, you know, and if you don't got security, you know,
All right. Or if you're not secure.
or if you're not secured, like don't be, you know, driving around with your with your hand hanging out, rolling hanging out while you driving, sticking out of your window, because them boys they looking and they'll spot it real quick and they'll follow you.
Yeah.
You know, so I heard that's what's going on in LA. You know, like unfortunately, but
Stay safe.
yeah, stay safe, man. Shout out to Kodak Black. yeah, shout out to Kodak Black.
He had a new album that just dropped, you know, recently. He just dropped a new album recently.
Oh, really?
New project,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. He's been real active.
Yeah.
Recently. That's what's up. That's what's up. So yeah, man. We had Do It All on the show last week.
How was that, man? I tuned in for a bit. It looked fun.
Oh, it was great, man. It was great. He's running for councilman of the West Ward.
Okay.
I grew up in the West Ward. It was fun out there, man. Summertime out there. Winter was fun too. you know, by Seton Hall, Ivy Hill, Project, Sanford,
Okay, okay.
Mount Vernon, Stuyvesant, you know. It was fun. So to see somebody come out of there and to represent hip hop and represent, you know, community and politics and you know, just everyday community, you know, that's powerful. So shout out to him.
Definitely,
So
man.
the conversation was definitely powerful. I mean, you saw it, so yeah.
When is that race again? We got to definitely make sure the folks go out there and
Oh, it's May 10th. May 10th. Definitely.
make sure to
Everybody,
vote.
if you vote, you know, go out and vote. You know, vote for whoever you want to vote for. You know, we're supporting and we're using our platform to support and push Councilman Dupre. You know, and if that's not who you support, we're not forcing you. You know, you can always vote for who you want to vote for, but just make sure you go out and vote. Get in the system of voting. Voting is important, especially right now.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we spoke about the state of the world. Anything you want to add? Anything else that you feel like is going on that you want to touch?
I mean, I think that it's important to stay active and stay focused. It's been an up and down sort of start to the year for some. You know, the weather's been crazy. It's outright been crazy. There'll be like 30-degree swings in a day. And it's hard to plan on that. You know, it'll be ice.
Yeah.
It'll be almost like spring, summertime.
Yeah. Oh.
And then
But
it'll
it's
get
been
icy.
nice a lot lately. Yeah.
It's been tolerable. You've been able to go outside and not, you know, be too locked down in terms of the weather being too frigid and whatnot. But stay active. Make sure you stay focused on your goals and your milestones.
Well, yeah, you know, it's still early to get your goals in order. Shout out to the pop-up print shop in Newark too. They had like a goal party, like a goal planning party / meditation party. I think was it yesterday? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I popped through there for a quick second.
How was that?
Oh, it was good. It was good. You know, it was pretty good. Nice little community work and stuff like that. On Halsey, yeah, 83 Halsey.
Word. And
Yeah.
what does she do over there?
I mean, she prints shirts, so she prints pretty much damn near everything. You know, prints hats, cups, merchandise. So if y'all looking for print services, you know, M's, this is free promo right here. I need you to send a check. You know, ladies and gentlemen, please head down to 83 Halsey, the pop-up print shop. You could find them on Instagram too and Facebook at the pop-up print shop. And also, before we go into Do It All's campaign video, I know we passed birthdays, like that was way back, but I just want to give a special birthday shout out to Franklin Mena of LT 160 Deuce, 162 Momentum Education on behalf of myself and Mr. Fro, Spencer Fro. So that one's for you, Franklin Mena. Franklin! Yeah, I told him I was going to do that, and I knew I was going to forget it, and I kept putting it in front of my mind. You know how you always tell yourself, like, I'm not going to forget, and then you forget it still. So I just made sure I had to get that out the way. But, so now we're going to go into Councilman Dupre's promo video.
Word.
Yeah. Shout out to Do It All.
ups, the Blast Master KRS-One. Yo, let's make this
Do it all.
And this man right here, Dupre Kelly, do it all. Let's make this dude right here, Newark, New Jersey's Westward Councilman. You know what time it is. Big up.
Y'all heard the teacher.
And we're back and we're working. I'm Godson Tony. This is
Dana J.
And we got Mr. Frozone in the building.
What up?
Shout out to Shawborn Infinite. Not here tonight, away handling some stuff. Shout out to Key Banks, handling some business too. Rich Gang, shout out to all them guys. Everybody that supports our show, daily, in the studio, outside of the studio. Gonzalo Silver, Producer's Edge. Shout out to the whole family. Core, KD, Africa, yeah, definitely Africa. Bahid, Nick. Oh yeah, Nick. We gotta check in with Nick. See what's going on with Nick. Make sure everybody's good. We gotta keep family close. It's a trying time in the world right now. So 100%. Check in on your folks. Make sure everybody's good. And spread the love and harmony. And stop creating dissonance. And speaking of harmony and dissonance, we finally on that subject. When you hear harmony and dissonance, or harmony, we know what harmony is. Mm-hmm. When you hear dissonance, what is that? What does that come to mind? What comes to mind? What do you think about?
Well, I think of it in contrast to harmony. So when I think of harmony, I think of things that are unified, in sync, working together collaboratively. So I'm imagining dissonance is, in that case, maybe not the opposite of that, but working toward divide and there being, a split in an opinion or, not being able to unify on something. So that's definitely been something that's been happening all over the world, not just now recently, but for some time, and not just all over the world, but all over the country. Folks looking to, there are folks out there in the world that look to exploit the dissonance from different cultures and different groups of people, folks that work to exploit and take advantage of that, and capitalize on that, which I think is distasteful. But I think there's ways to work toward creating harmony throughout all the different sort of gaps,
There are ways. There are ways. I feel like the first way is practicing just love, love and compassion towards yourself first, and then towards your fellow human beings. Trying to understand that everybody's going through something. Everybody's been somewhere, and everybody's had to do some kind of healing. And you don't know where people are in their journey or where they are.
Right.
So yeah, it could be a lot of dissonance, and there is a lot of dissonance in the world. But at the same time, learning to create harmony and bringing balance to, look right here, we're in harmony right here. It's three of us.
And I want to say that communication, right? From what you said, I heard that you're gonna be dissonant if you don't make music, right?
Oh yeah. Well,
if you don't create, if you don't speak,
for sometimes
or listen.
Sometimes for me, if I stay bottled up, if I don't talk to people, if I don't share, if I don't communicate what's going on, it creates a personal distance for me. If I get into situations and there's not a medium to let it out, it creates a personal distance where you're not complete.
Right. Not fulfilled.
You're not fulfilled.
You feel empty. Yeah.
Well, not more so empty, but it's like you feel not complete, like you're withholding to yourself.
Could be
So
like
they-
an upset stomach. Because when you said empty, I was thinking of like
So
starving,
there is a
hungry.
dissonance. It creates a dissonance.
What would you say? Like, what's the best way to break down dissonance as a whole? Like, how would you define
Well,
dissonance?
The Webster Dictionary, since 1828, says it's a lack of agreement. Definition of dissonance: lack of agreement, the distance between truth and what people want to believe. Inconsistency, especially inconsistency between the beliefs one holds or between one's action and one's beliefs. So
The distance between one's actions and one's beliefs.
yeah, see that? That's heavy, right? Cognitive dissonance. A lot of people have cognitive dissonance. Like, I'll tell you one big cognitive dissonance. Y'all ready for this? A lot of people voted the president in, thinking he was going to do a lot of good, or bring good tidings, and now look at where we are. And now the same people that voted for him, some people are having a dissonance, cognitive dissonance, rude awakening for some, and they're like, "Wow, is this what I put my vote towards?"
And there's people in denial.
and
like
there are
not
people in
even-
denial
yeah.
too.
And I want to. I don't think it's just Biden. And this is Spencer Way in the background, by the way. I don't think it's Biden. I think it's the government. Like
It's the
the
government.
American
Yeah,
government.
yeah. And I don't
know.
think we're not putting it on the president. It's just the
Yeah.
government. Period. So I don't. But nonetheless, we do encourage people to go out and vote. Like vote for the people that you would want to see make a difference.
Participate.
Yeah, just participate.
To participate in democracy. Word. And you've worked
Or
Dana's worked on campaigns.
Or
and
Republican if you
whatnot.
want.
Dana has campaign experience. I don't know if you can.
You want to speak?
I can. I mean, I think that working on different sort of causes across the country, whether it be like cause-based things, like environmental or voter registration, or trying, different drives and initiatives and things like that, whether it be things like that, which I always enjoy those campaigns a bit more versus people, like congressional or presidential or different sort of political races. I think it's a lot easier to sell belief on an idea than it is on a person, because a person can change and things can happen and they can let you down, or they can get caught up in a scandal, or you can find out they don't believe this when they claim this. A person can let you down, and it's a lot harder to account for a person when you're trying to gain advocacy, right? Versus a cause or the idea of something. Maybe it's like renewable energy, or maybe it's like getting utility companies to commit to having renewable energy, some sort of like attainable goal. I learned about this stuff only after I came out of New Jersey, because there's this power to the people sort of amendment program that exists in a little over half of the states across the country. A lot of folks don't know this. I didn't know this until basically college, that if there's a cause or an issue that you and your community believe in, that you believe should be able to be voted on by the state, you have to create an amendment, and then that amendment get X amount of signatures from registered voters in the in the state. No matter whose money is pushing where, or what politician is doing what, that has to be able to be voted on.
Yeah, and
that's an incredibly powerful thing.
That's how laws and stuff are created.
And people don't know that. I didn't.
Right.
I didn't
That's
know
really
that.
only on the West Coast. So like most of the original 13 states don't do that. Florida does, and I learned about it on campaigns in like Nevada and like Arizona and different places like that. That's a super powerful thing. So a lot of folks feel like, there's of course elements of the political process, and folks feel like their vote doesn't count and the popular vote and different things.
It does
But there's
count.
powerful in like these local races, right? Like do it all. There's a real attainable goal in terms of getting communities and community members together to go out and vote. There's probably a number that is attainable to get X amount of folks to vote in favor of him to be able to get the seat. So like that's a real, like that's actual people power. Like there's a real, what am I looking to say? We have a real stake in that. And going out door to door and going out to do phone banks and different things can like really be the difference of a couple votes.
But watch this. You see how powerful our black and white vote was. especially black minority vote. You see how powerful it was in this last election, right? Like we all see that. Like we can't deny that. We see how they catered to our vote.
A lot of folks said that made the election.
It did. Both elections, this one and the one before. So now, if we're becoming present to that as black people, to where the argument used to be, oh, I voted and my vote did not make a difference or it didn't count. Now we get to see what they did for our votes, how far they went, and the impact that it made, whether good or bad. Now, what are we going to use our vote for next?
Right.
What are we going to use that power, that unification for next? Knowing that it actually works, and and we're looking at the results of our vote right now.
I feel like this conversation ends up how like a lot of games of Monopoly end up, where there's not a true winner. Folks just end up getting like emotional and upset, and I don't sense that here at all.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that a lot of folks feel like they're, no matter how involved they get politically or no matter how much they feel to get involved with their community, there's a limit or a ceiling on the real change that can come from it. I think like how you just said and how we just spoke on the last two major elections in the country, the minority voting bloc or the color voting bloc, or it's, however they just describe it, played a real factor. If we become aware of that and use that knowledge, then we have leverage. And not just in these huge races, but even in your local races, these council races, these mayor and like these local races, the AD race, all these different sort of things. Understanding what leverage is and how to be able to utilize it. Like, okay, if we can account on, you can account on X amount of votes, in theory, what are you bringing to the table? What is an attainable goal? What is something that you can change to improve the quality of life for this and that? Like, that's not putting feet to the fire. That's like being empowered and utilizing your power in a position of power. And we're able to do that in places beyond what we can see right now. And the sooner we can get a grip of that, the sooner we can take steps forward and really make the changes that we want to see, I think, for real.
Wow. That's heavy. Thank you for that. Shout out to that breakdown. Deserves a round of applause. Well, not round of applause, some horns.
Round of horns.
A round of horns. So, speaking on the definition, speaking on what you were referring to, Spencer, so dissonance could also be a mingling of sounds that strike the ear harshly, a mingling of discordant sounds, especially music, a clashing or unresolved musical interval or chord. And we all artists here, so.
Right.
Oh, I remember what I said. Yeah. I remember. I was saying dissonance becomes harmony if you change the root note. Because usually, I mean, it gets complicated. Anyone who knows theory out there knows that there's like a lot of ways to break this rule. But let's say there's one tone, there's two tones, and one is off. If you move one, it'll eventually, lower the frequency or rise the frequency just a little bit, usually, and it'll hit that moment where they are in harmony.
That's
Which shows one note in two notes, one can change.
we need to get you a
And-
camera. We need to get you a camera for your we need to get you
Frovision.
A little back, Frovision.
Frovision,
Or the Frozone, just the zone.
Frozone.
Just so the camera
it.
is
That's
the
the
zone.
zone, the Frozone,
That's
right there.
perfect. I love that. 'Cause-
It's right there.
yeah. I always thought
Shout out to the Frozone.
Shah was calling me Frozone, which he was, but I like the
That's
idea
the
of
zone.
this
That's
is
your
I'm
zone.
Fro,
Right.
and
Yeah.
this is my zone over here.
Right. Wherever you're at, that's the fro zone.
In
See,
Techni-
so my brother
Techland.
was not. You see,
Shout out to Shah.
Shout out to Shah.
Yeah,
He's
Shah.
watching right now.
He's
you know?
watching. He said, "Great show, peace." Ill minds capsulate.
Yeah, encapsulated. You see, so he was thinking ahead of the future when he freaking captioned that or coined
The
you
Frozone. Now I'm
he
in my
saw
zone.
that.
It was a
wasn't-
vision.
Yeah, so it wasn't like he was being,
It's also like being in the zone.
yeah.
Off-road zone.
So when we talk about dissonance, like when it comes to music, like we're all musicians here.
Word.
What does dissonance sound like to you when it comes to music?
Like one thing is feedback.
Oh yeah,
That's the ultimate dissonance.
That's
like-
the ultimate dissonance.
It's like the
That-
nails on the chalkboard.
That's the most, well, let's say it like this. That's the most noticeable dissonance. That's the most immediate, like, okay, we have to do something because that's affecting everything.
Yeah.
But there's dissonance in things that we can't even, like those frequencies that only dogs can hear type stuff. And then like the shifts in like 808s and that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? There's elements that can shift and affect the dissonance in the
Do you
space.
feel like a lot of the music today, a lot of the, well, I won't say rap music, but I won't put it to one, subject it to one genre, but do you feel like a lot of the music today is dissonance to the ears?
I think that there's things that are happening with certain elements of hip hop that happen in other genres, but we see it the most because there's so many different examples of it going like this in terms of the glorification of like violence and
Over sexual,
hypersexual drugs and money. And if you have a problem with somebody, because that's what it is, right? All of the talk of ops and whatnot and handling the ops and whatnot, when I hear that, it's like, okay, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? And as opposed to
My
working toward to
ops.
communicate and resolve the
Yeah.
problem, it's like, I'm just going to bring violence to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's on site.
I'm gonna check the ops on site.
Yeah,
Like,
that's-
what's that about?
I can only imagine that being very tiring if that's a real thing. And you know what I
So
mean?
now when you put that out there, and imagine if somebody, imagine if I heard that, and I was still living in that vibration, you know, I might look at it and start being scared and saying, oh, he's gonna see me on site, so now I gotta be scared, and I'm walking around all scared and prepared, you know, ready to do something to him.
and
on
it's back
site.
onto that harmony versus dissonance
Yeah.
because it's all a matter of how it's being translated, right? If X is talking about so and so with ops and Y understands that that's part of music and it is what it is, but now Z hears it and translates it as a threat to their livelihood, it doesn't matter how it was intended. And I think that a lot of stuff gets wrote off of on assumption, and that's a part of what creates the dissonance. There's a lot of willingness to go off into like the first headline that you hear or the first thing that ticks across, like, oh yeah, no, that's going on well, that's crazy. And now all of the reactions are based off of these headlines that we read instead of information. A lot of folks don't even know what's happening with Russia and Ukraine or why that's even a thing. And they're just like, oh my God. And we're getting fed like the violence and stuff that's coming from it. And maybe that's even a tactic in itself, right? If we really want to go there, like they're willing to put out imagery and videos and photos of violence and kids and families and women's dying and blood and things before putting out an explanation. Something to help bring unifying energy.
What's the story behind?
Right. What's going on?
What's going on? What's happening in the
Shout
world?
out to Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, shout out to Marvin Gaye. His words are still ringing years later, 2022, and we still here.
It's
What's going on in the
frustrating.
world? You know, why we can't just sit down and have a conversation? What is the problem? What's the issue here? You know, why's the first thing to go create some dissonance in somebody else's backyard? You know, because I saw some of those missiles that flew and hit those, well, whether it's propaganda or not, but those missiles are real. It's hitting some buildings.
Right.
It's
really shaking a block
it's
somewhere.
It's shaking
Yeah.
a block, and you hear the sounds that it's making. So when we're talking about sounds here, and we're listening to harmonious sounds, and we're in the clubs, and we're popping bottles and turning it up and twerking, you know, thinking we're listening to some harmonious sounds, but we're actually listening to dissonance. There's some kind of other dissonance going on in the world where they have to wake up to like drums of missiles swirling through the air in their buildings.
I think the greatest fear is getting so accustomed to the dissonance that you find harmony in it. When we get so accustomed to the BS, right?
Ooh,
We get so used to stuff being so outlandish and like it's a harder fight to work toward unity and harmony and understanding.
when you're so deep in it, right?
It's a harder fight. It could become a harder fight to work toward authentic truth and like unifying qualities in something, it can become easier to just wave the flag and go.
So
like,
do
all
you
right,
feel
well,
like
it is
we're
what it is.
deeply embedded in our dissonance as a culture? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I think that like even troll culture and like the social media age that we're in, and like I'm barely in my 30s, so like I know I'm not an old head, and I know that I've
not
seen
old.
enough
You're
of
not
life.
old.
I've also seen enough of life to like remember when phones could only be for calls, and it took really long to send a text. I remember those days. Now you can talk it out. Now you can damn near think it. So the advances in technology have allowed for folks to become lazy in how they communicate. Right? It used to it used to be a fact of like you needed to be in front of somebody and talk. Like that's the only way the stuff could get solved. Or you could write something, but then the problem's gonna come to your door. Folks work to create resolution without the human interaction and without even hearing it on the voice, because it went from being on the phone to texting to digital to now it's like FaceTime. We don't even got to be in the same room, and there's a real connection that comes from human energy. That's why a lot of folks' social lives are getting crippled and changing from the pandemic, because you're being forced to stay inside, and now you're like not even sure to how to really interact with people because you're used to that. We've taken advantage of the human interaction, and now folks ride off of assumptions versus taking the time to communicate. It's easier to ride off of an
Assumptions
assumption.
and not facts.
It's easier to ride off of what
Feelings,
like looks like it makes
feelings,
sense.
I thinks and I feels.
Yeah, we're more in our feelings than ever.
Yeah.
Real light skin out here. It's unfortunate.
Hey, you guys are winning, man.
You know.
You nice guys are winning.
Have you heard of Drake? Have you heard of Obama? have you seen Prison Break?
Have you seen them?
Have you seen Black Lightning? Word up.
Tell me, have you seen them? Seen them?
So,
the
Sha,
light skill.
Have you had Curry lately? Greatest 3-point shooter in the
Oh
history.
Jesus! Listen, stop it.
Yeah, we outside.
They're everywhere. Y'all outside right now. Y'all running everything. What's y'all saying?
Sha says lack of options sometimes presents dissonance.
Lack of options.
Options.
You see what G said? He's hitting.
We were
G's-
talking about that
Yeah,
before.
we've had these conversations. We're an intelligent. It takes some time to take a step back and realize that we're like an articulate bunch of folks.
Yeah,
and we
because
be having these
you
conversations.
ever had these conversations.
This is just Tuesday talk.
This
you
is
know?
come on. This is
This is in the car going from
this
somewhere
is
to
life,
somewhere.
man.
Yeah,
We can do 1,000 of these podcasts, like wake up in our sleep. Like, these are normal conversations that we have every day. Like, we're not just coming out here saying, "Oh, we're gonna have a."
Yeah, we live
podcast.
this life, man.
Yeah.
We some cool cats that do this.
Yeah, like, we're not just
shout
coming
out
out-
to G Silva. He says it's also how we use language. It's also how we use language. We use hyperbole to describe most
Hyperbole.
hyperbole. I could, I was being funny style,
Yeah.
but we use hyperbole to describe most experiences.
like
And it's true. It's true. Folks may not. How would you describe that when you hear that, Spence? That most people or like people use hyperbole to describe most experiences.
Which is just basically an exaggeration. Like, it's not what they really mean, but it's like it can be taken literally. Yeah, I think
I'm guilty of
that. We do that. It's like
See,
partly
We
like
troll though, like we're funny, like our humor is
That's
different.
crazy because even
humor does it. That's the whole
even
point of
growing up,
humor.
like now that I'm sitting here, I'm getting present. Like I'm sitting here, and it's amazing because I'm getting present to even when I was growing up as a teenager, like the dissonance that I was creating in my community, thinking I was creating harmony, thinking I was creating community, thinking I was creating. That was, but what did you see at 16? That's what community looked like to me.
I mean, you were working to create harmony. It was received as dissonance. That's not because of what you did, though.
Yeah,
Not because of your effort.
but I also got into a lot of trouble. So for me, it created some kind of
I
dissonance.
get you.
And now looking back at it, I'm like, wow, it's like, I've grown. I've transformed. A lot of people I grew up with, a lot of the family members I grew up with, they're not even around no more.
Right.
Because and sometimes in order to create harmony, sometimes you have to eject yourself or take yourself away if you know you're the problem or the issue. Sometimes to bring harmony to something, sometimes maybe you got to take a step away or take a step back.
5.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah. 5 what?
Minutes till 9 o'clock.
5 minutes. 5 midgets till 9 p.m. Yeah, so I mean, it's been a great show, man. You know, like
No offense.
anything else that y'all want to?
No.
That's an inside joke. That's an inside joke.
Yo,
No,
You
that's-
know,
that was amazing.
that's an inside joke that we're bringing to y'all. You know, this is what we do. Like we
But that's a hyperbole right there. That's
Right.
like, that's exaggerated statement. It's like-
Before we wrap up, I'm gonna take some time to shout out my teams and everything that I got going on. First
Please
off,
do, man.
Shout out to the Producers Edge. Shout out to Mr. Fro and G Silva. Check out Producers.
Producers
_
Edge is family,
on
if y'all don't
Instagram.
know.
Yeah, it's a family
Producers
affair.
Edge started. Well, we're not gonna do that. But the conversation started. You know, in
These
this
quarters.
in these quarters.
Yeah.
So
Definitely check out theproducersedge.org. Once
Mm-hmm.
again, theproducersedge.org, and then producers_edge on Instagram. Check me out. My website is danajdaily.com. That's what my social media handle is. Check out my album Commercials. Make sure you download that and buy it. Buy
Damn,
it.
you
Don't
got a
download
lot of
it.
stuff going on,
buy
Dana
it.
J.
Buy the album.
You got a lot of stuff.
I got a couple of
going
things
on.
going on.
What's
Check
it
out-
on? What's it on?
Commercials you can find on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud,
When you
YouTube.
gonna send us the video?
But we got to set it up. We've got you can
Send
check out
us
the
the
Better Be video on YouTube, but definitely make sure to download and buy Commercials by Dana J on your favorite platform. Check out my podcast, Dana J Almost Daily Show. Just check out my website, and it has like all my info.
So
and check out
send us
Producers Edge.
the video because we're starting our video roster. And
Yeah, we got it. It's,
Yeah.
it's on the YouTubes.
okay, yeah, but we need it in the capsule where it's like we can just pull it up and just because we're gonna be running videos 24/7.
Got
too.
you. Yeah, we'll definitely
So
put it in the
we
mix.
need to have a database of videos because
Content.
content. But we're gonna have a segment just videos. So once the show's done, we can run videos.
Shout out to Sock Studio and shout out to Studio 18 down in Orlando. That's family. Shout out to Under the Sun Music. That's my label. And now I'm done.
That's good.
You can buy it on the iTunes store. You can buy it in the Google store. You can buy it on Bandcamp. And you can buy it on my website, danajdaily.com, my album. You can buy it at those locations. But look up Dana J Commercials. Check it out. Enjoy.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Appreciate you having me on, man.
Yo, come on, your
And then we
family,
got to do
man.
the wireless. We got to do the Wi-Fi. You know, for the vid.
for yeah, because we don't want nobody saying anything about us. But nah, your family, man. Like at any time, man. You know, you always come through.
Appreciate it, man.
Shit,
I got to
yeah.
come do a live mix sometime.
You gotta come through, make some beats sometimes.
I'm with it, yeah,
so
I'll
we can
laugh.
you
With the
know,
roulette style.
So I can finish these damn projects that I got. You know, I got about four joints right now that I just bust out over the past 3 weeks.
Okay. My beats are crazy. You should check me out.
Listen, I heard your beats, bro. Shout out to Dana J. I heard some of your beats. That's why I'm making a request live on air. It's like we're giving away some gems today, you know. So if people paying attention, and if you're definitely starting podcasts, we definitely gave away some gems today.
Word.
You know, and the conversations too. Like we always pack the conversations up, and we put a lot of thoughts into the conversations that we have with the general public. And it's always usually centered around culture, around health, around, you know, what's happening in the community and society, in the music realms of hip hop.
And you encapsulate it.
Yeah, and we just keep everything encapsulated, keep you encapsulated, because we are the Ill Mind Capsule. And on that note, I think we have come to the end of yet another exciting show. Please definitely go to the YouTube channel, LGND Filmworks, you know, all one word, LGND Filmworks. Yeah.
And
subs-
Illmind
and
_capsule.
subscribe, like, share,
All that.
and comment. You know, we're not trying. We're getting to 1,000 subscribers just so we can really blast off and really, really start playing with some content. So help us get there so we can really, we can service this great community. And also, if you're on Instagram, you can follow us at @illmind_capsule. Yeah.
Why don't we shout out Purple real quick? Who?
Shout out to Purple Haze.
That's what's up.
She was supposed to be on the show tonight. And she'll be on soon. But, yeah, we'll be having her
something
on
came
soon.
up, but she'll be with us.
Something came up, but she will be here. And also shout out to Tiffany, Tiffany the stylist, Chiffany, aka Chiffany. She's actually responsible for the backdrop. She's the curator of the backdrop that we're looking at right now. Detox the Mind, Detox the Ghetto. This is
shout
all
out to Jerry,
Jerry
of course.
Gant's energy. So
And Manuel Acevedo.
and Manuel Acevedo
painted it. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So next week, what we're going to do is we're going to have Tiffany come by the studio and have a conversation with her around who she is, what she's been working on, and also around the Jerry Gant legacy.
Dope.
So big things, man. So on that note, we are at the end of yet another capsule. I don't think there's nothing else to say. All minds and hearts are clear.
Encapsulate
You've
yourselves.
been capsulated.
You've been capsulated.
Mr. Fro Zone,
Thank you.
take us out with another commercial.
Let's see what we got.
Whichever one you want.
It gets better.